Hello students, welcome back to my channel. So we are learning the lesson data structure. We have already completed 2 sessions regarding the same. In the previous 2 sessions, as you all know, we have completed the introduction to data structure and also we have seen the introduction to arrays also. So what is an array? How do we declare that? What is the syntax? And how do we represent them in the memory, etc. Isn't it? So we also saw the list of actions which we perform on the array. So from the in the coming 3 sessions, we are going to learn about these operations, right? So basically they are traversing, searching, sorting, deleting, inserting, etc. Okay, so in today's session, we are going to learn 2 algorithms. First one is traversing and another one is one of the algorithm of searching. Okay, so we have 2 searching algorithm. One is linear search, another one is a binary search. In today's session, we are going to learn about linear search. Right, so let's start. Algorithms are very important from the point of view of your examination also, mainly because some algorithms are asked in the final examination for 5 marks. Okay, so in this session, I'm going to explain you the theory behind this algorithm and how this algorithm works. And also we are going to see a program where we are using the same algorithm. So our C++ program is also we are going to learn, right? So the very first thing is traversing an array. So what is a traversing? I've already explained in the previous session that traversing is nothing but traveling to each element or a data item of an array, isn't it? So if I have an array, something like this, it is a consecutive memory location, isn't it? Arrays are stored in consecutive memory locations. So traversing is nothing but I'm visiting this one and this, etc. Okay. So this visiting can be for many purposes. It may be to search an element. It can be to display an element. It can be to add data items into the array. So many reasons. Okay. But mainly what we are doing is we are visiting each and every data item of the array. Right. So traversing is the process of visiting each subscript. Okay. Subscript we all know. We have already learned these each data items are referred by a subscript, isn't it? So that is not so. If I say if A is the name of the array, then A of 0, A of 1, this is nothing but subscript, isn't it? So this goes on like this. So that is subscript. So traversing is the process of visiting each subscript at least once from the beginning to the last element, right? So let us see an algorithm regarding the same. So the algorithm is saying let A be a linear array with LB and UB as the lower bound and upper bound. Okay. So this algorithm traverses the array A by applying the operation process to each element A. Now here this process can be anything. Okay, process can be printing an element, process can be searching an element, etc. But as of now, you understand that we are going to each data item and we are doing this particular process, right? So let's see the algorithm. So here it is saying let LOC be equal to LB to UB. So LOC is a variable we are taking here and LB is nothing but my lower bound and UB is nothing my upper bound, isn't it? So here, see, if this is my array. So this is my, the subscript is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose there are 6 elements in this particular array. So this is my lower bound, okay? This one, and this is my upper bound. So what I'm saying, I'm taking the variable LOC and this LOC is getting repeated. This particular statement is getting repeated in a for loop. So I hope you all know how a for loop works. For a for loop, there is always a initialization. When it comes to C++, we use initialization and there is always a condition. So unless and until that condition is true, the for loop, whatever the statements are under that for loop gets executed. Okay. So for this particular for loop, the condition is that the LOC has to, the variable has to be between LB to UB, right? So that is between this to this. Now we are saying process A of LOC. So initially LOC will be LB, okay, and then what happens, then we will process the A of LOC. So what is A of LOC? When I say A of LOC is nothing but A of lower bound, which is nothing but A of 0. Okay, so first this will get processed. And then what is going to happen along with for loop, always remember we also increment it. Okay. So if I'm incrementing this, so what is happening next? The LOC is getting incremented to the next one. So we are going to access A of 1 and then we will process A of 1. Next step in for loop is we are going to increment it and we are going to reach A of 2 and then we are going to process this particular data item. Then we are reaching A of 3 and then we are processing this and then we are processing this and then we are processing this. Now we have reached UB till UB. Once we increment this, what happens? This particular condition becomes false. Okay. Why? Because LOC becomes greater than UB, but then we have given a condition that it has to be between LB to UB. So this becomes false. That time the for loop ends and we are going to exit this particular algorithm. Okay. So if at all there is any confusion, when we see the program next, it is going to be clear. So usually in algorithm, we don't mention every detail. Okay, so this is how it is going to be. So you should understand that there is a for loop where we are going to start from the lower bound and we are going to reach till upper bound. And then we are processing each data item between the lower bound and upper bound. Right. Now, see this program. So here the program is to input and output the elements of the array. As simple as that. Just we are taking the input to the array and we are going to, whatever the data item we are taking as an input, we are going to display them, right? So these are all the header files. Okay. Now our void main is starting from here. Now see, I am declaring an array here whose name is A. Okay. And it is of size 10, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 items. Then I have a variable I and then I have a variable n. Then I'm doing the clear screen. This is to clear the screen wherever the output is that I want only my output to come. Okay. Now, first I am saying see out how many elements. So what comes in the output screen? First it will say how many elements. Now, remember the students, I have already said the size is 10. So this is the maximum size this array can have. So whatever the elements, how much ever I'm giving, it has to be between 10. Suppose I'm saying I want 3 elements in this particular array, right? So what is happening? We are taking the value for n. So n becomes 3. Now I'm saying enter the elements. So see this particular set of code. Okay, so before explaining this, let me explain this for loop, how it works. For I is equals to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, and then I'm saying C in A of I. So what is this code? So for loop, we all know there are 3 items in a for loop. First thing is initialization, and second thing is a condition, and third thing is increment or decrement. So in this particular case, it is increment. Okay. Now, initially, what is going to be the value of I? I is 0, right? We are initializing it 0. So once we initialize, after that, every time we process this for loop, we are not going to look at it. Initialization happens only once. Okay. So initially, I is equal to 0. Next, we are checking the condition here. Is I is less than n? So what is I? I is 0, less than. What is the value of n we have? It is 3. So is this true? Is 0 is less than 3? Yes, it is true, right? Which means I can process this. So this increment happens after I process the particular statement. Okay. So what is happening here? C in A of I. So I'm taking C in whatever the value I have entered through the keyboard has to be taken and stored at A of I. What is the value of I? 0, which means I have to store whatever, suppose I have given the value, I've entered 1. Okay, so this 1 will go and get stored in A of 0. And A, where is that A of 0? A of 0 is nothing but my first element. So 1 is going to come and store here. Right. Next, what happens? I value gets incremented. I is going to become 1 here. And then I'm checking again, is 1 is less than 3. Is this true? Yes, this is true, isn't it? Again, what am I going to do? I'm going to take C in A of I again, which is nothing but A of 1. Okay, so whatever I'm entering in the keyboard, I'm entering 2. So 2 comes and gets stored at A of 1. Okay, so 2 is getting stored over here. Next again, I value gets incremented. It becomes 2. Is 2 is less than 3? Yes, it is. Then again, C in A of 2. So whatever I'm value I'm entering in the keyboard comes and gets stored in A of 2, which is nothing but this one. So 3 comes and gets stored here. Next again, I is getting incremented to 3. Is 3 is less than 3? Is this true? No, this is not true, isn't it? This is false. So hence, this particular statement is not going to get executed. We are going to come out of the for loop. So where we are going to come, we will exit this set and then we are going to come to this particular statement. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Now, what is going to happen here? Here it is saying see out the elements are. So output is going to be, so we entered how many elements? Let me erase this. So this is our output screen. In the output screen, first we will get enter how many element. Then I said 3. So 3 is going to go and get stored in n. Okay. Then after that, it said enter the elements, isn't it? So it said enter the elements. That time I entered these values. Okay. And that is when all this process happened and I got these values stored in this particular array. And after that, I'm going to get the output as the elements are. And see this for loop again. So the set width 4 is nothing but if I have output 1, 2, 3, if I don't put it, I will get something like this, okay, together. So if I want a distance between them, something like this, 1, 2, 3, then you have to use this set width of 4 between the variables, okay. So that is when we will get an answer like this or output like that. Okay, let me erase this. Now see the next for loop, whichever we are using. This is going to be this for loop we are using to in order to display the values stored in our array. Okay, so we have taken the input into the array using a for loop. Now we are going to display them also using the for loop. So see here, for I is equals to 0, I is less than n, same conditions we are taking. Okay, and then I am saying C out the whatever the set W, and then I'm saying A of I. Now what is going to happen here? The only difference is here it is C out instead of C in. So again, the I value is going to be initial, it is going to be 0. Okay, and we already know is 3. Now is 0 less than 3? Yes, this is true, isn't it? So that time what happens? C out. So it is going to display it on the screen. Which value? A of 0. So what is A of 0? Is nothing but 1. So if this is my output, first 1 gets displayed. And then what happens? I gets incremented. So I becomes 1. Is 1 is less than 3? Yes, this is true. So at that time what happens? C out A of I. Again, that is A of 1. So 2 gets displayed. Okay. So output is going to be 2 here. Again, I is going to get incremented. I becomes 2 here. Is 2 is less than 3? It is less, isn't it? So that time what happens here? A of 2 gets displayed. So what is A of 2? Which is nothing but 3. So 3 is going to come as an output here. Okay. I is getting incremented again. Now is 3 less than 3? It is not. This is false, isn't it? So what is going to happen? The entire control is going to come out of this for loop and it will come to this exit, right? So this is what our output is going to be. So this is how we take input for into an array, and this is how we are going to display the values of array. So here what we have done is when we are doing the input or output, we have visited each variable, isn't it? So this is nothing but traversing. We had to visit each data item in order to display them, isn't it? That is why we use this for loop and we visited each data item and then we use the cout statement and we printed it, isn't it? So this is all about traversing. So next we have is searching an element. Now what is a searching an element? Suppose I have an array and I have 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, something like this. Now I have to search 3 in this. I need to find, so it need not be in a sorted order. So what happens in that case? if I have to find 3. So that is what we are going to learn. Okay. So it refers to finding the location of the element in a linear array. So we are going to find the location. So output of this particular program or algorithm is going to be, if I'm searching for 3, it is going to display where is it stored, especially if it is a of 0, a of 1. So it is going to say a of, it is stored in the location 2, isn't it? So linear search. So two methods we are going to use in today's session for searching. First one is a linear search and second one is a binary search. Now let us see what is a linear search. Linear search, this is the simplest method in which the elements to be searched is compared with each element of the array one by one. So if at all it is 3, I'm going to go here first and see if it is equal to 3. It is not. Then I will move here and I'm going to search, is it equal to 3? No. Then I will move here and again I'll compare. So we are comparing it to each and every element, right? Since searching is one after the other, it is all called as a sequential search or a linear search. Okay, so since we are doing in a linear or a sequential way, it is also called as a sequential search, right? So let's go ahead and see the algorithm for this particular method. So the algorithm is, A is the name of the array with n elements. ELE is the element to be searched. Okay, so the ELE is the element where we have stored the element to be searched. This algorithm finds the location LOC. So LOC is the output where the search element ELE is stored. Okay, so 3 things to remember. Name of the array is A. Element we have to find is ELE, and the location of that element once we find, we are going to store it in LOC. Okay, so see here, the first step is initially we are initializing the value of LOC as -1. So why we are doing this? So that at the end, when we finish searching, if the LOC value is still -1, then we can see that we have not found the element. If at all the value is more than -1, that is even if it is 0, because our indexes are always starting with 0, remember, otherwise we could have easily initialized it to 0, but since the index is starting with 0, we are initializing it with -1. Okay, so if it is any value apart from -1 or greater than -1, which means that we have found the element, isn't it? So remember that first we are going to initialize the value of LOC to -1. So then we are running a for loop here. Okay, so what is a for loop? We are starting the for loop from 0 to n-1. What is this n? N is the number of elements in the array. Okay, and always it starts from 0 to n-1. This I've told you so many times already, isn't it? So this is the for loop. And so what is happening? For loop, suppose this is the array. I'm taking A of P. So first value of P is what? 0. So A of 0, I'm checking whether it is equal to LE. That is element. Okay. If it is equal to element, then I'm saying location is nothing but this P value. Okay. Whatever the P value is. If it is equal to element. Otherwise, if it is not equal to element, then I'm exiting this. Okay, so this for loop is going to continue till what? So we are going to visit each and every data item and we are going to compare. If the element is matching with the data item, then we are changing the value of LOC. If it is not, then we are incrementing the pointer, that is P value, and we are going on checking until we are getting the element. Okay, so once our for loop ends, see here, I'm saying if the location is greater than or equal to 0, this I already told you. Location we initially said it is -1. If at all it is greater than 0, greater than or equal to, this is very important, okay? Even if it is equal to 0 also means that what? This is the element is found in the very first data item, isn't it? So if the location is equal to or greater than 0, which means we have found the element at the location LOC, right? If at all the location is LOC value is still -1 after going through each data item, which means that that particular element whichever we are searching is not available in this array. So we can directly say search is unsuccessful and we are going to exit. Okay, so let's go ahead and see a program for this. So see here. Since the program is little long, I mentioned the first half here and the second half in the second slide. First, let me explain how we are going to take the input for the array. Right. So see here, these are our header file. This is my main. I'm taking the array of size 50. The array name is A, right? Then I have I, then I have this I is required for our for loop. POS is nothing but position. Okay, this is equal to our LOC in the algorithm, whatever we saw. ELE is nothing but our element which we are finding. So wherever this element is found, we are going to store the position in this particular element, right? The first, enter the number of elements. So this is going to be a constant in a array in any program whichever you're going to see in a array program. Okay, so first thing what we need is we will ask the user how much elements you want in an array. Okay, so that is what is the first statement is going to be. So whatever he is going to give us the input, so how much ever input we are going to store it in n, then we are going to take the elements. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 lines of code is constant for getting the value into an array. So first thing we are going to ask is number of element, that is n value. Then we are going to take the value into the array. Okay, so for that we use the for loop. This I already explained, so I will not explain again. Okay, now suppose let us take an example. So before that, enter the search element. So we are also going to ask them what is the search element you want to find in this particular array. And whatever the value is getting inserted, we are going to store it in ELE, right? And then we are initializing position equal to -1. This is nothing but LOC is equals to -1, which we saw in our algorithm. So all that code, let me explain with the example. So first I said enter the number of elements. Suppose n is equals to 4. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm taking the element array A and I'm saying I have 4 elements here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next we said enter the elements into the array and we used a for loop and we did see in A of I, isn't it? So what happens here? We are going to enter the elements. Suppose I am saying 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 gets stored here. Right? Till here it is clear. I already explained this logic to you in the previous program. Okay. So now, then also we said that ELE, enter the element to be searched. Suppose I say the element to be searched is 2 and we also initialized position to -1. So these are the initial things we did. We asked the user how many number of elements are there in an array, enter the elements into the array, and we said we also took the input for the element to be searched, and then we said the position is -1 as of now. Now we are going to use another for loop. For I is equal to 0, I is less than n I plus plus, and we are going to visit each data item and check if it is equal to the element. Okay, so see here, first I is equal to 0, I is less than n I plus plus. So let us run this for loop and see. I is equal to 0, I is less than n I plus plus, isn't it? And then so now what is going to happen? Initially, I value is 0 and 0 is less than what is our n value is 4. This is true, isn't it? So we are going to check this. That is that. What we are checking is element. Now what is our element value? Our element value is nothing but 2, isn't it? Element is 2. We need to find 2. Is 2 equal to A of I? A of I is nothing but A of 0, which is nothing but 1. Is it equal to 1? Is 2 is equal to 1? No, it is not true, isn't it? So what is going to happen? Since this is false, we are going to break and then we are going to come back to the for loop. So I is going to get incremented. I is going to become 1 here. Now again, we are checking is 1 is less than 4. It is true. If it is true, then what we are going to check? Again, we are going to check if element is equal to A of I. So element is 2 and A of I here, that is A of 1 is nothing but 2. Is 2 is equals to 2? Yes, this is true, isn't it? So what is going to happen? We are going to say position is equals to I. So as of position is minus y, but then I'm going to say position is equal to I. My I value is 1 here. So position is going to be 1. Okay. So then what we are doing, we are breaking and we are coming out of this for loop. Now we don't no more required to check further because we have already found our element. So now we are checking what is the value of position. If position is greater than or equal to 0, is this true? Position is 1 and it is greater than or equal to 0. It is greater than 0, isn't it? So then we are saying C out. So here how it is going to come? ELE. What is the value of ELE? It is 2 is present at the position POS. And what is POS? POS value is 1. So this is how the output is going to be. 2 is present at position 1. Okay. Now let us consider another example where we are entering the value where we want the program to search the element which is not present in the array. What is going to happen? Suppose I enter number of element is 3 and we are going to say enter the element into the array, isn't it? So it is going to be 1, 2, 3. So I'm saying 1, 2, 3. Now I say search the element 5. Okay. And then also we are going to initialize position to -1, isn't it? So now what is going to happen? Let's take this for loop. Okay. So for I is equals to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, right? So what is happening? Initially I is 0, 0 is less than 3 because n value is 3 here. So since this is true, what I'm going to do, I'm going to check if element is equal to a of I. So what is element value? 5. Whether it is equal to a of I, and a of I is nothing but a of 0, which is nothing but 1, isn't it? Is this equal? No, it is not. So what we are going to do is we are going to come out of this. This is not true. So we will not enter into this. We are directly going back to the for loop. So I is going to get incremented to 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes, this is true. So we are going to check if element is equal to a of I, that is a of 1, and a of 1 is nothing but 2. But is 5 is equal to 2? No, this is also not true. So we are going back to for loop again. I is going to get incremented to 2, and we are checking is 2 is less than 3. Yes, this is true. So then I'm checking is my element 5 is equals to a of 2. Is it true? A of 2 is nothing but 3. No, 5 is not equal to 3. So what is happening? We are again going back to for loop, incrementing I. Now I value becomes what? Now y value is going to become 3. But 3 is not less than 3. It is equal to 3. So this for loop condition is also false now. Hence we are coming out of the for loop to this statement. Now what has happened? Since we have not found the element at all, the position value has not changed here. Position value is still -1. So I'm going to check, is position value is greater than or equal to 0? No, this is not true because it is less than 0, isn't it? So if condition is not going to get executed, so we are going to come to else now. Else is saying directly C out, element is not present. So what is the element? 5. So it is going to say 5 is not present. So that is what is going to be the output. So these are the two conditions. If we find the element and if we don't find the element. So I hope this is clear to you all. So that's all in today's session, students. Thank you for watching. Take care.